What's going on, Board Wars, and welcome to the first episode of the official Board Wars podcast. I am one of your hosts, Gus, the commissioner of the league himself, and I'm joined by my other co-host, the captain of the legendary Astro Bears, JD. Now, JD, this is our first episode of this podcast, and we talked about planning on doing this weekly. In your mind, what is the purpose of us doing this for the league?
You know, the purpose, first of all, Gus, I'm so excited to be doing this. This is an awesome opportunity. But I would say the purpose of this podcast is to really, first of all, kind of bring the community together, to kind of spread the information that maybe some players know a lot about and maybe some players in the league don't know about. Some players, a lot of people are located in the same location, same area, and others aren't. So be able to have this podcast, we're able to bring the whole league together, maybe have just a better brotherhood, you could say. And I'm just really excited to talk about, to have new players, new guests on the podcast, to hear new perspectives, new opinions, and hopefully kind of grow the minds of the league and maybe even ours, in our opinion. So I'm just really happy to be here.
I mean, information is so important for Board Wars, and we've seen that develop in multiple ways this season with the Cuties rule that now all information has to be visible, which is hilarious that it took till season 3 to figure that one out. And even the Information Act, that's been developing here as of late, and it's resulted in some of the best games we've seen. So definitely. I think just trying to improve general awareness for what's going on, especially for legacy talks, season projections, and all fun things, Board Wars, because a lot of us are really into this thing, and sometimes it's not enough to wait the weekend to see what happens, and sometimes you want to talk about it but you don't know where. So it'll be a great platform, I think, to really have people on, spread some rhetoric, and maybe figure some things out and have some kind of media sphere to start to develop one for this game that we love. So
100%.
Yeah, like you, JD, I'm just really excited, and I'm excited to do this with you. I mean, we talked about doing this specifically because you've been here since season 1. Some of my favorite conversations talking about this game is with you. I think you're very informed, and I think it's going to be great pod, and we get to kick it off with a pretty cool episode. As we're going to begin with our season recap. So most of the time, from what we were talking about, we're going to do like a weekly recap from the previous week. And, because it's our first episode, we kind of need to recap the season up until now, which is a little sad because this previous weekend was a crazy game.
Yes, insane.
With Sam Mokwa, Drew, and Swamp Dave, and of course the winner, Goober. Do you want to talk about that just a little bit, just so we don't brush by what happened last week?
No, of course. So I mean, I watched it and was part of it firsthand. I had my rookie Sam Mokwa playing, who was able to get second in just a wonderful game. It was honestly just a masterclass of the new Information Act. The teams, all players were able to perfectly diplomatize and kind of strategize on stream, which was entertaining, I think, even as a captain watching the game. But I think as how Board Wars is supposed to be, I think it was a perfect representation of how a board game should look.
I completely agree. I completely agree. And that's why I love the Information Act so much. It feels like a true return to form, for the league and for a lot of these guys. And I was watching this game, kind of like what you said, and I was like, wow, this is what Board Wars is meant to be. Go these conversations and who do we go after and all of that. And I think Goober played an amazing game, a legacy-defining game, breaking or tying the record for the most wins in the regular season, along with Dr. Luke, who, I mean, if you know Board Wars, you know Dr. Luke.
It is insane to just even tie a Dr. Luke record is amazing.
It is ridiculous. So we're taking big steps in the direction of maybe the GOAT debate getting a little bit more interesting. Even still, and I just kind of want to pose this question. Maybe this will open a can of worms before we go on to the season recap. But how high can you have Goober in your all-time conversations now? That's really the question that I'm asking. Because a 3-win season is very good, but a lot of players, their all-time conversations are kind of hindered by, I've only won 1 year and I was really only good. Like only one all-star to his name.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of, and it being this year, right? He has none before this season. So I don't know. What do you think? Where would you put him?
Yeah, I mean, so thinking about before this game, I kind of had a top 5, and I don't think he cracked that. I think with those players, I think it was like a Luke and a Slushy, and Alex Bruns and a Caleb Ward. Players like that they were multiple seasons. They were able to prove they were all stars, some of the best. But with that win, I believe that puts Goober at 4 wins, correct?
Yeah, 4-6 for a record,
4-6,
which
so
is one win higher than your 3-6.
It is
crazy.
It is. That is above me now, and I believe it's also the same record as Caleb Ward and Slushy, if I'm not mistaken. They're both at
Caleb
4-6.
Ward 4-7 for Caleb
4-7.
Ward. 4-6, I think, for Slushy. Yeah,
so all very same. So with that win, I think you have to put him into that same conversation. Now I feel like he has a little bit of a slower start to a career, but also he had less team prestige, you could say. He's hopped around a few times, and I think he's kind of on the rise. He's kind of proving his defensive play style can win at the new stage. So I mean, at this point, he's definitely in my top 10. He's probably in the top 7 at this point, and he keeps on rising. I'm kind of excited to see.
I don't know if I can put him as high as you or Slushy, due to, I think, the lack of postseason success. And it's not like Goober hasn't had opportunities in the postseason, and we can go game by game and talk about all of those matchups and how hard they were and the situations. But Goober is 0-3 in the playoffs. I mean, that's the fact of the matter. He doesn't have an award, which you have an MVP. Slushy has, in my opinion, the most decorated, trophy case. I mean, O point and D point, 4-6, and I think the most important thing for the legacy of Slushy is he's 2-0 in the postseason. Yes. He doesn't lose when the lights are brightest, and Goober is 0-3. So, not to put this down, because I think there's a huge chance we see Goober in the playoffs this year, and
100%.
There's a pretty good chance he changes that because he's just on a tear right now. But to me, he just doesn't have the longevity. He doesn't have the accolades or the wins when it matters most for me to really consider him on the same tier as you and Slush.
Yes, I would have to agree. I think he's right below us. I think I would say with the awards and the resume, he might be a little behind at the moment, but I think at the end of the season, we could see him kind of breaking that ceiling. And that's why I think the playoffs is so important. He has his 3 games in, so the regular season's done for him. We know the Sallies are going to make it to the playoffs. They're now 2 games above everyone else, and I'm sure his captain Gideon is going to give him at least 1 game. So really, those games for the playoffs, and that's kind of what he's missing on his resume, those playoff wins to kind of help his team get another chip. If he does that, I think then we kind of put him into that conversation.
And you got to think those playoff games, the pressure is going to be high, man. I mean, going 0-3 in the playoffs, going into your 4th game, and it's not going to be easy because everyone sees the 0-3 regular season or the 3-0 regular season Goober, and they're like, "Oh man, we've got to take him down." He's not going to be done any favors in the postseason, and 0-4, it's just a big game. It's just a big game. With an 0-4 playoff record on the line, even for someone who's achieved so much, man, that's going to be a fun one to watch. And like you said, the Salamanders are pretty much guaranteed to make the playoffs, as we can just kind of, I think, transition into our season recap for the Salamanders. How do you think their season's done so far?
I mean, if you had to give it a grade, you would have to give it A+. I mean, they now have 5 wins on the season. They had 3 just a couple games ago, right before the Information Act. And even some teams, some players, even myself, were kind of wondering how the Information Act would affect the Sallies. and it did not change them at all. They kept winning, and I think it's a testament to their players, how many kind of their organization, how many players they have grown up throughout the
Yeah.
season.
Well, and I think the Information Act has actually proven to a lot of people that the Sallies are actually good.
100%.
I think before it was like, oh, the Sallies keep winning in these weird political ways, but nobody's in the room where it happens. So we're kind of operating off of hindsight bias. We're kind of like looking at the effects, and we're like, oh, they just keep winning because people are bad, you know? But in the Information Act, we really get to see the genius of how they control the games through these political environments. And you know, I thought the same thing for Gideon when he got that career-changing second win for the season. And when Goober got the third, I mean, those were the most legitimate in my minds. And again, I just
100%.
love how the Information Act has progressed our enjoyment of the game. And I gotta say, man, like ever since the Sallies have played in the Information Act, they're 2-0.
I know.
They haven't lost in this new environment. It's not even just that they've been still good; it's they've been better, which I maybe could have told you going into it, but you know, it's not recorded, which is another reason I'm happy this podcast exists. I can victory lap in the future, maybe, but no, the Sallies, like you said, have been amazing. I think the shock might be strong, surprising situation for all of us this year has been the lack of a Slushy win, who was really the person who won them the championship last year.
Yeah.
So I think that has been surprising. I think we all kind of knew that Goober was going to get better, but we didn't know it was going to be this much.
No, not at all.
You know, I mean, yeah, and Gideon, you know, is always good, but we were kind of questioning whether he was good as a player or not. You know, maybe he's just a great captain, but then getting a 2-win year, and it hasn't been the same as we thought it would be, but it's almost been better for their results.
100%. No, I think coming out of that playoffs with Slushy going 2-0, with me witnessing it in Game 5 and kind of stomping all the other three teams coming out of the blue, we kind of all expected Slushy to come into the season and kind of be a high favorite for the MVP. You know, we had Luke Joggers, of course, coming down as a player, but we still had Slushy right up there with him. Right. And I think this season, although he's only gotten 2 games, and you know, we could talk about the games, how he's gone unlucky, he's gone in second place, and they have been great games, but ultimately, if you're not first, that's what all that matters. Second, third, fourth, it's all the same. If you're not winning, then you're not getting the win for the team. So yeah, I mean, I think that was a little bit surprising throughout the season, but I think as we see, like Goober and Gideon, they picked up the slack. They kind of proved that it's not just a one-man operation, that Slushy doesn't have to carry them to the playoffs or winning the playoffs every year, that they have other players on their team to get the job done, which it's been really cool to watch. It's always impressive to see a team with multiple players be able to carry the load different seasons. They don't do it every single time.
Right. And I got to say, though, other than Gideon, Goober, Slushy, the depth of the Salamanders, they're not the most deep team in the league.
No.
I mean, they've got people like, I'm looking at who has played other than those three, and it's Zach, Tennessee Turtleman, and Skeletevin. I obviously, we've got to see D. Tercios return. Fresh off the suspension.
Yeah.
We've got to see Tasty T, I think they have scheduled to play, which will be very exciting. So we've got some more. I heard Skeleton's getting a second game. We're going to see more opportunities for these other people in their roster to develop. But going into the playoffs, they really just have a big three. And even though Slushy hasn't won this year, undefeated in the playoffs. I mean, it would be mental for their captain to not give him a game, really.
Yeah. No, I feel like you have to. I mean, even with the 0-2 start, I feel like you have to give him a chance. But I mean, yeah, just looking at their team players right now, other than Gideon, Goober, and even Slushy, taking out, even though he has won games, looking at the rest of their 3 players that played a game, they've all gotten 1, and they've all gotten second with no kills, very low damage. And obviously, I mean, you could
It's
say
true.
those are just bad games. They're rookies, but I think it kind of shows they kind of have a smoky salamander way of playing, and I think you
Yeah.
can see throughout the thing that when they lose, it's they don't do a lot of damage, don't get a lot of kills. Second place, they're right there with them, and then when they win, it's also kind of similar. You can see with Goober and Gideon that diplomacy. So you kind of see they're kind of riding on that, and it hasn't turned out the way they want to for the rookies. But then again, there's a lot of talent in the league, and I'm sure those players as they get more games, they'll be able to get more comfortable with the league.
For sure. For sure. And I think the Sallies do a great job at adapting some of those players that
Mm-hmm.
we don't think like, oh, maybe this guy doesn't have the board wars mind, maybe he doesn't, and really just transforming them. And we've seen that with a player on a larger scale that, I think we all believe is capable, like Goober. We always kind of knew
Mm-hmm.
there was something there. But I really think, I mean, if these players that are lower down in the roster are going to develop, there is not a better place they could be
Yes.
than the Smoky Salamanders. And so, I mean, they've had an incredible season, 5-6 now, going into the end of Act 4, and that is just an incredible record. And lower than them is 5 teams tied at 3 wins, which is just ridiculous and
Yeah.
unprecedented.
Yeah.
I guess my question for you is, which of those 5 teams do you want to hit next?
Man, there's a lot of teams to choose from, but I feel like as as a captain of one of those particular teams, I feel like we have to talk about the Astro Bears with the
I'm
second
game.
seed.
I'm
I feel like
game.
we have to talk about it. I feel like also with as a new team, I feel like there's quite a bit to talk about here. So that is a
Yeah.
fun one.
There's a lot to talk about the Astro Bears. I mean, they have had, like, I think the most, and it depends how you measure success. For the
Yeah.
Salamanders, I actually do think, even though some of their players aren't highly rated, measuring success, I mean, they've all gotten second place. Maybe they're the most replicable success in the league, but statistically, in terms of damage dealt and impact had, I think, on the game and the politics at large, I mean, Astro Bears have got to be the most consistent team. I mean, they have, what, 5 players right now rated 88 or higher? Four players right now rated 88 or higher, which, by the way, I mean, the Salamanders have 2 players that are higher than an 88.
Yeah.
I mean, and that isn't a diss to the Sallies, but that's, wow. I mean, they play consistently. And even the players who, are at the bottom of the list, I mean, one of them is you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, you have to assume you're going to rise at some point. And so being the guy that is the most intimate with this locker room, being a part of the team,
Yeah.
I don't know. What has their season been like so far?
Yeah. I mean, I think the season has really gone well for expectations I think other people had or even I had. I was able to draft like a good group of guys. A lot of them kind of in the same situation I was, either in college or somehow relates to me. I have my brother on my team. So it's been a lot easier to help them play, kind of freeing up my schedule because we kind of have the similar schedule, or kind of lining my schedule going back to the hometown St. Louis. But it's really just been my players' like dedication to the game. They love the game, and we try to get practice games in, and they really just they love to win, and they're trying to win the cup just as much as I am, and that's our goal. And I feel like you can tell that's been our goal all season. And I don't know, it's been fun to watch all my players get better and just enjoy the game as the season's gone on.
What I'm going to say, it takes a really good captain to make a new team feel like they're capable of reaching such high, standing. And I think, not no glaze, but, I think, they've got a guy who I'm going to argue later in this pod, I think should be up for captain of the year. And man, it's not easy. I know this from my season 2 experience. It's not easy to make a new team and go in and immediately succeed. And I think you guys have handled that with such grace. And we've seen such a huge improvement from the partner in crime you took with you. I mean, Max Power, you took with you from season 2 from the Llamas. And we'll talk about how those losses are affecting the Llamas in a minute.
Yeah.
But having, Max Power go 2-0 to start the year and really establish himself as a top tier award winner. Award-winning potential, at least. 97 overall. I mean, that has been huge for the program, and hitting on a lot of those draft picks, I think, have been important too. The draft this year for the Astro Bears, and obviously when you're an expansion team, you get more picks, but they've really used those picks well, picking Papa Bear, number 1 overall, 94 overall, 1-1, incredible season so far. Cheddar Bob they picked, who's an 88 overall, 0-2. And even the free agent acquisition, or maybe it was a trade for Parker.
Yeah.
Who last year on the Jelly Jets wasn't rated very high. He was a 74 overall, but in the Astro Bears system is now an 89 with an incredible season so far. And, they've got Lil T, who had a pretty good game. They've got Sam Mokwa, who we just saw go toe-to-toe with Gideon and Drew, and he was kind of barking at them a little bit. He was fighting back, and it was cool to see, a rookie with such vigor. It's just an awesome team, really, full of rookies who really just are all performing well. And, I think this was just a big question mark going into the season is, there's a lot of good teams, and we're seeing that as Board Wars progresses, the league gets more and more competitive. But, is this new team going to be able to hang? And, I mean, with a 2.3 APF right now, and that's not accounted for Sam's game because that hasn't been tracked yet. I think by the time this goes live, it will. But they've got the best APF in the league outside of the Sallies, which is really going to be huge considering 5 teams are tied.
Yeah.
Having those tiebreakers is really important. So really just super successful team from the Bears, and I mean potential to start a lot of careers with some awards.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think a similar team to success that we've seen from the Astro Bears is a team that, they started last season. I kind of led them into existence. And there were a lot of question marks on the Purple Dragons. They were like, are they going to be able to do it without Gus sitting next to them and guiding them along? And a lot of questions there. And I think they've really overperformed as well. What do you think?
100%. I have been very impressed by the Purple Dragons this year. I think coming into it, obviously, I know they were losing the Purple Dragon, the creator of Board Wars, and I did have some doubts whether, Ian, it was only he only had 1 year in the league, and coming in as a captain, wondering, did he get enough playing time? Did Gus able to train him up fast enough? And I think we can see they're doing great right now. Ian, I think, is leading the team very well. You can see they've had a lot of their players have gotten games in, so they've been able to spread the rock. You've seen improvement of Piano Man, who, I mean, we're sure we'll be talking about later, but 2-0 compared to his season before with no wins. You can see the improvement of their players. You can even see Ian getting that win, not having the Purple Dragon on his side, but still able to get that win for his team. And you even have some rookies like Tribesman and Sigazel, who have really high potential, who haven't won a game yet, but I have watched them, seen practice game with them personally, and I think they have just such a high potential.
Yeah, I mean, this team just is full of potential that has been maximized well by, another person that I'm going to be arguing for Captain of the Year in a minute. And, again, losing the Purple Dragon himself is really hard for a team called the Purple Dragons. But the way that they've been able to mitigate this, I think, has been awesome. And losing somebody who had the most wins on their team last year, Brent Ritter, he's gone. He's out the door.
He is.
And maybe he'll stay on the Beavers, or maybe there's a Dragon reunion in his sights at some point. But, this is a team that lost their 2 best players.
Yeah.
And we've kind of seen what happens when a team loses their best player, and kind of what the Mama Llama season has been thus far. It's not easy to come back from that, but
No.
really Piano Man stepped up. And one thing I do want to say that maybe might have been a hint that Piano Man would take this big step forward is in the 2 games he lost last year, he got second place. And these weren't bum games that he got second place to. One of them was a game against you, Gideon, and Mr. Java.
I remember that.
In retrospect, that game is really, really high tier.
Yeah.
The other game was interesting because it was a loss to Drew, Straw, and Hodgepodge.
Wow.
Those are 6 really good people to play against. And getting second place in all of those games, man, I think he was really forged in the fire of those defeats. And now we're not only seeing a Piano Man that is 2-0 right now, but he is 19-3 for his KD.
Yeah. No.
Unbelievable stuff from him. And I think 2-2 in his career, he has established himself not only as an award winner, but as one of the rising stars in this league. Super important to the Dragons as their vice captain. And Indiana Jones, man, he's really put that team together. I mean, they hit on some of their draft picks, Sigazale, Tribesman, Burger Kimchi, all incredible draft picks. And they've got some guys on their bench. I mean, one of them, Dash is on their team. Really some potential there. And
huge potential.
Just that roster is deep. And I think, it's been exciting to see how Indiana has done as a captain and also as a player, sporting their 3rd win. It's just been a great season to be a Dragon.
I think it has. They've really done a great job, and I'm sure they'll be. We'll see if they make the playoffs. I think they have the great players. They're coming in.
Yeah.
And I have real high hopes for them, and I'm excited to see what they do.
Me too. I think, their main competition, other than the Smoky Salamanders in that division, is a team that we have a lot of questions about. The Barbeque Beavers. We just saw Drew make his debut for the Beavers. And so, for those of you who don't know, because that's what this is supposed to be, it's a recap.
Yeah.
The Beavers this year have completely rebranded themselves. Shipping off Jacob Dieter and his posse, bringing in a bunch of young guys, trading for the Rookie of the Year, Brent Ritter, hoping to build something over there. And Drew was missing for a good part of this season due to studying abroad, being in different countries. And we were all thinking to ourselves, what is this team going to look like when Drew is gone? What's it going to be when he comes back? Like, what is the potential? And I think they really overperformed in Drew's absence, more so than we thought they would.
Yeah.
I think a large part of that has to come down to Serial. The way that he's been able to, be at these games and foster this chemistry growth has really been unlike anything we've ever seen from a rookie, especially one with such a lack of experience.
Yeah.
But he's really taken a step up and he's deserved that vice captaincy. And the sneaky wins from Charlie, who, man, I don't know who thought Charlie was going to be this kind of a player. I certainly didn't. But, dude, that kid is legit.
Yes,
he's good. He's really good. And Bucky really is good, too, for a rookie. What do you think about this Beavers team? And just let's say before Drew. We'll get to Drew in a minute. Before
Drew, man, this team, like you said, we had a lot of questions about it, especially when we found out Drew wouldn't be able to be part of them that first half of the season, maybe even 2/3. I think it is amazing how these players stepped up. With Charlie, I don't think anyone really expected it. If we're all honest here, I don't think we expected him to get that win. To be able to perform that well this early in his career. Then you have Bucky, amazing win. Getting them those 2 wins, I don't think anyone expected them to have those 2. And with those 2, setting them up for a playoff potential. And then, of course, you were talking about bringing Brent Ritter. And obviously, he hasn't been able to perform exactly how he did last season. But I'm not in their locker room, but I can assume that he's been able to help those rookies just with the experience he had from the season before and the things you taught him. But I mean, I really think the most valuable player on that team is Serial, even though he's 0-3 and the overall's only 74. I mean, not the stats aren't great. What he brings to that team, the leadership, the coaching, kind of just bringing the responsibility, I think was key for this team. I think without him being on that team, they're not getting in those 2 wins. That's really what I believe. So I think they really pulled together as those guys and kind of realize that if we hold the ship steady, that once Drew gets here, we get a couple wins, that we can make a run for the playoffs. And I think that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, and they're behind in the playoff picture right now. They're one of the teams that doesn't have 3 wins, one of the few. Yeah. And, they're just right behind with 2 wins. But, man, I mean, getting those wins without Drew, I think, is way greater than anybody thought was going to occur going into the season. And, I think we do need to talk about the Brent Ritter fall off a little bit. Going from one of the best players in the league statistically. I mean, one of the best seasons of all time, seriously, to going down to a 76 overall. I mean, my personal feelings on that, and I think maybe he gets more poop than he deserves for that. You had him on a team where so much of the coaching was overloaded by a guy who, made the game. Mm-hmm. So much of the strategy ran through me. So much of the scouting for opportunity, like all the coaching was, was me. And I gave Ian a lot of those opportunities as like the playoffs were happening. And I tried to get his feet wet a little bit. But I mean, Brent was never put in those positions. Every time he played, he had the guy who knew everything sitting next to him and helping him out and really doing a lot of the heavy lifting for him. And to Brent's credit, I think Brent is genuinely gifted at looking at different elements of the game and like finding out like, oh, these 2 combinations can combine in a really cool way. And I think he's really explosive at just finding things that fit really well together. And I think that's why him and I together made such a great duo and resulted in a lot of really good stats. The Attack of the Clones game that he won in the playoffs with the 15 or so Marios, it wasn't insane. That much, but it was
a lot.
It's crazy. And a lot of that, sure, the captain helped him, but a lot of that was figuring out, man, these combinations would be really insane. And honestly, I don't know if Brent has been in that position this season. The 2 games we've seen him, I think he's played by himself for the most part. Mm-hmm. He went from having the best help of all time to nothing. And I was saying this about Indiana Jones when he started the season at like a 70-something because he played 1 game. He was by himself. He went from the best help in the league, the best coaching, to completely alone. Dude, that's, there's different players on the team that are going to serve different roles. There are guys that are going to help provide information, help provide coaching, add experience, and offer advice in that way. And there are guys who are going to take advantage of that. And as Ian has grown into that captain, the guy who really knows what he's talking about and being able to really contribute in those ways, I just think judging it off the first few games is a little unfair. I think Brent was put in a position that honestly he wasn't really set up to succeed in with the Beavers, and I think he's contributed to that team in so much more ways than just the X's and O's. Really just being a guy to help organize and bring people together and hopefully in the locker room being a champion for these guys. I mean, that's his main job, I think, in that locker room. And he's done that well, but I mean, the game, I don't know how he's been set up. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you were there on that team. You would know a little more about the situation. But I would say, yeah, I mean, you can tell the the team matters for players, the people you have around you. I think it's good to point out that certain players have different skill sets. You know, you can point out maybe a Luke Joggers. Maybe he has everything, okay? And that's just sometimes that's what the GOAT needs. But other players, sometimes you kind of need that one guy next to you where it's like, okay, this is what that tile does, and you're able to take in that information very quickly and translate it into a play. And I think that's what we kind of see what Brent is. He's very good at taking in that information. And if he just has someone there, or honestly just getting more experience, learning the game more, you'll still be able to see that season 1 Brent come alive again. And I think I have high hopes for him. I think, obviously, I mean, you could even point at me. I've only played one game, but you can see with that captain next to me, I had a lot. My results was a lot less than when I did have that captain next to me. And it's kind of the similar thing where it's all that information, able to take that in and make it into something. So, I mean, it is a little bit disappointing to see the drop that Brent had, but I think there's still high hopes for his impact on his team, and then in the future for his future games. I'm sure there's a lot more growing that he has.
And it really makes me think about the possibilities this offseason. I mean, there was a moment where we thought he was going to be traded to the Astro Bears, which is just really, if you think about the possibilities, like Brent has done a lot of good for this Beaver team that they wouldn't have had if he wasn't around. And but man, for his personal success as a player, a trade to the Astro Bears, I really think he would perform just as well. Honestly, maybe if not better, just due to experience than he did season 1. But, you know, going to the Beavers and taking on, you know, a different kind of role has been an interesting experience for him. And he's a young player. He was a rookie last season. And, you know, I think he's going to learn a lot. But this Beaver team has just been exciting, man. I mean, seeing the emergence of Bucky, seeing Charlie, who, you know, people don't give Charlie enough credit, I don't think. Because even he's played 3 games. We've seen a lot of Charlie at this stage. And you know, the game he won was a little, like, is that the best win in the world? But the games he lost, I think, was what really sold me about Charlie. Because maybe not the John Mark game, but the second one. That game that he lost, I was like, okay, so Charlie can be in this position. Like, he can put himself in a position to succeed, and he's like, there's actually some substance here. He's not just a player that, he'll get one win and it'll never happen again, like the stars align. No, this is a kid who is one of the youngest players in the league, age-wise, and can really, like, especially as he gets older, give some of these older guys a run for their money. I mean, he's already doing that.
Yeah.
So seeing that develop is going to be really exciting. Bucky, he's an awesome player, really just a smart, grounding presence in that locker room. And having it strung together with Serial has been exciting. And I feel like there's a lot to say about the Beavers. And then Drew comes in to the picture. Yep. And man, this was this past weekend. He played well. And he was a little rusty. There was a little bit of things that, like, okay, if Drew was in his prime here, he probably would have seized opportunities and won this game. But, man, he still played well. And even knowing how that affects the locker room, even, you know, having a captain presence, they have 3 games left. 4 games left. Yeah. Because they still have their divisional game. They've got to win probably 2 of those 4 to make the playoffs. Yeah. They've got Ryan, who with Drew, I mean, we've seen win a game. He was the MIP last year, most improved, who still has 2 games left to play. Drew, I mean, he could play those other 2 games. I hear he's at least going to get one of those 2 just because they want to maybe give one to a rookie to develop. And maybe that decision will depend on playoff standing. But, man, this Beaver team has a lot of opportunity. I mean, how do you think they are faring going into this end of the season?
I do think they are a little bit at a disadvantage if you're looking at it. Obviously, they have 1 less win than was it the five teams with 3.
5.
So they're below everyone. Now 1 win, you get 1 more win, you're all tied up with them. But the problem is you gotta get 2 in that span of 4 games. I
true.
think Drew really needed to win that game to kind of get that spark going. But I mean, they still have, like you said, they still have Ryan, and with Drew, that is a great combo. Ryan, honestly, maybe one of the more underrated players. He's been in the league since season 1 and have been around the game before then. Other than the OGs, the OG veterans, he's up there with them with the experience he's had. Although he hasn't played as many games or hasn't been as connected to the league, he's still been around. He's still seen so many things. And I think with him and Drew together, there's so many possibilities. So if they have 2-3 games together, if they can scrap up a win in their next game, I still think they have a very high chance. I think they need to win their next game. That's kind of a must for them, especially losing this game with Drew. But I think if they win their next coming game, I think they have a chance. They'll have 2 more chances to win another one.
Well, and they currently have, because of their divisional win, tiebreakers over the Dragons. The Dragons have yet to win a divisional game. So if it comes down to it, if the Beavers win this upcoming divisional game, let's say there's 2 possibilities. They could, A, win that divisional game, which is huge for them, or they could prevent the Dragons from winning that divisional game. Either way, they've got tiebreakers over the Dragons. Supreme tiebreakers, which is really going to come in handy as this, season comes to a fold. It's really going to depend on how this divisional game goes. I know, we know the Dragons are putting in Piano Man for his 3rd game. I mean, that is amazing. We know that the Llamas are going either Jacob Dieter or Jeff, which those guys could really win. And
100%.
The Beavers are putting in Ryan. The Sallies are putting in D. Tercios, and that'll be interesting.
Yeah, that will be first game back.
That's going to be a huge game for deciding playoff seeding, and it really excites me. So it's looking like Ryan's going to step up to the plate for the Beavers here, and maybe they'll get a win, maybe they won't. But, I think it is maybe time to talk about the elephant in this season recap. Maybe the Mama Llamas just a little bit. Losing JD this offseason obviously has hurt them in ways that we couldn't even understand at the time. And they're sporting the lowest record in the league right now with a 1-10, and they would need to probably win 3 of their last 4 to have a seat in the playoffs. So, as a former Llama, how does that affect you?
It hurts. I'm gonna be honest. It hurts to see them 1-10. A part of their team for the first 2 seasons, we never missed the playoffs. We always had at least 1 win in the playoffs. We always had a running for that cup. Although we never ended up winning it, we felt like we always had the team to do it. Every year, every game, we always felt like we were going to win. And that was kind of the mentality we had. And I think it is a little disappointing to see them come the season at 1-10. I think we had, even though I left, I think with the Jacob Dieter trade, I think we had a lot of high expectations for the team. A lot of veterans, and we kind of expected them. I think a lot of us had them at least probably in our playoff, in one of the 4 playoff spots. At least I did. I mean, it has been a little disappointing to see. I think looking at their stats, even just looking at the APF, you can see something's off. It's all 4s and 3s down the board, just not even making it to the Apocalypse or making it to the top 2 teams for running in the game, which is disappointing to see. And obviously, I'm not in the locker room, and I'm not exactly sure. I'm not probably every single one in the game. I don't know if that's the diplomacy, if that's just knowledge of the game, if it's just the culture. I'm not sure, but it just hasn't been the season that I'm sure John Marcus wanted, that Kyle's wanted, that any of them I wanted.
Yeah. No, I mean, for sure. I'm sure all of the Llamas in that locker room want to be good. They want to win games. And, it is kind of heartbreaking to see a team that has been so good consistently actually having the best regular season record last year with the aid of the MVP, JD, to fall off in such a way. It is kind of a tragedy as well that the 2 years that they did make the playoffs, they finished second place. Really, I think is what it came down to. Season 1, they finished second place to the Cuties. Season 2, they finished second place to the Sallies, and they're not really going to get a chance here. But, I really think this is a rebuilding year for the Llamas. I think they're going to be able to find a new identity this offseason and really figure things out. And, I think such a historic team is destined to rise from the ashes at some point. And even if this season is a loss, what I always say is I feel like in Board Wars, the team that really has fun and really enjoys themselves and really does kind of alleviates the pressure starts to see more success. And for the Llamas, maybe now that they are pretty much out of the playoffs, I mean, again, they would have to go on a tear. It's technically possible.
It's possible, but
it's probably not going to happen. The Llamas, maybe will be able to return to more of a fun approach to the game and maybe rejuvenate some kind of spark, and maybe they can carry that momentum into next year. But, if I'm a Llamas fan, if I'm a Llamas player, I'm really just thinking about next season and what we can do in the off season and changes we can make. And so I'm sure we will see those changes as the off season arises. They're going to be my number one team to look out for this off season, really. If they can bring somebody in, if they can shake things up, I mean, they could make a run if this roster right now just had a little bit of spark. I really think they could go on a run. And if they find a way to not only get that spark this offseason, but add to their arsenal. I mean, this is a team that has won a lot of games. Johnny, Jeff, Calbrus, Jacob Dieter, Jacob Hicks. 5 people on their roster have won a game.
Yeah,
you can't say that about other teams. So if they're at their peak, if they're in their prime, I mean, they've got such potential. So in some ways, I'm excited to see what the Llamas do this offseason and how they can progress. But it's just, like you said, hasn't been there yet this season.
Yes. No, I'm looking forward to what they can do. I'm always cheering them on, although I've left them. I would have loved for them. Obviously, my hopes are that the Ashbirds make the playoffs, and my hopes were that the Llamas would make the playoffs, because, I mean, if my team is going to win, I would love to have seen the Llamas go all the way. That's kind of how I feel. I love all the guys on that team, and I think they all have the talents and also just the want to win. I think they all love the game. They've all been apart for a long time, and I think they just kind of need that jump start. And maybe that comes in off season or beginning next season, or maybe it comes in the next couple games where they just have fun and they go do their thing.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely a team that is going to be on our minds, as the season comes to a close, for their exciting future. And I guess there's 3 teams really left. We can talk about, I think the team that I'm kind of sporting today with my little green shirt I've got on, the exciting Los Cuties. Yeah. The Los Cuties are exciting. They've always been good. Season 1 championships, hoisted the Legacy Cup, which you can see over there. That actually might get cropped in YouTube. Maybe you can't. The editor will show it. But little Legacy Cup over there. I mean, come on. That's got the Los Cuties name on it right there. But this year, it just hasn't been what it normally is. I mean, we've seen their star players come out and do good. We've seen Caleb Ward take a huge step forward in his personal play. We've seen Dr. Luke kind of continue to be himself for the most part. Maybe not to the extent that we saw in season 2, but really, winning games and just being solid. And then we've seen, we've got some exciting people coming up. I mean, we haven't even seen Alex Bruns yet. We've seen the Goosewell trio kind of develop in some exciting ways. And this team really does have potential. And I think a lot of teams probably don't want to see the Cuties in the playoffs. Because sure, they might sneak in. That's kind of where they are right now. Are they going to get in? Are they not? But if they do sneak in, they could win it all. They could.
100%. Yeah, I mean, as a captain in the league currently, that is not a team that you want to go toe to toe with. Their peak, their top players who, if they were to make the playoffs, that you'll see them get games. No one wants to go against those guys. Those are some of the best guys in the league. Dr. Luke, who maybe all should consider the GOAT of Board Wars. Then you have
Yeah.
Caleb Ward, the new captain of the team, who is having an insane season. He's kind of
Right.
peaking right at the perfect time, right when the team needs him the most. And then you also have Alex Bruns, who hasn't even got a game yet, but a previous MVP, who, if they made the playoffs, I'm sure would step up and get some of those games. And we've seen him do exactly what he needed to in the playoff. And along with that, you have the Goose Wells, who I've heard personally from Caleb Ward, who has affected Luke's games, Caleb's games, that they've come in and actually helped them immensely to get those wins. So I think that what is that? That's 6 players right there. All have either have already reached their potential and we know they can win games, or have a really high ceiling. So it's really just a scary team that if they did make the playoffs, they have just of a chance to win that as anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, and it really comes down to if they're going to. I mean, we have no Caleb Ward games left. We have 1 Dr. Luke game left. We have 3 Alex Bruns games, but I hear he's going to get 1, maybe 2. Mm-hmm. And with the distance, of Alex Bruns operating in Kansas City, is he going to return to his MVP form? I don't know. So this team just really historically great. Maybe they don't really need to make the playoffs. I mean, they could really just build towards a future with Caleb and, figure out next season. But man, if they somehow manage to do it, I don't know. It could have interesting results. It just doesn't feel like they're peaking at the right time. And the Cuties, I mean, they started the season 3-2.
Yeah.
They find themselves, 3-8? 3-8? Yeah. I mean, they're on an 8 or they're on a 6-game losing streak, which is the longest active right now. I mean, every team has won since the last act, other than the Cuties. I mean, the Cuties haven't won since Act 2. It's just they're not there. And especially as we see some teams really start to heat up as the season goes along. I mean, the teams that are peaking right now, they're going to have the best chance at the postseason. And I think that's a pretty good natural segue to the team I'm referring to, the Ruby Raptors. I mean, man, the Raptors, I've kind of coined a little nickname for them in the booth. The Red Hot Ruby Raptors, baby.
Ooh,
I mean, coming at it.
Raptors. I like that.
The Red Hot Ruby Raptors. I mean, they have been unreal. 3-2 in their last 5-game stretch, which is just unheard of. Enigma really solidifying himself as a top guy. Caden finally getting the win that he needs. And all the players on their team that in previous years we've been like, that guy's not good. All of them have found a semblance of success. I mean, Noah LeGrand, love Noah LeGrand, man, but his years on the Jelly Jets were not inspiring by any stretch of the imagination. He was a 74 overall last year. He finds himself at an 89 right now. Timothy Wright, I mean, dude, he was a 68 last season. 68 overall. He finds himself with a win and at an 88 overall right now. Preston Donahue was a 71 last year. He went up 9 spaces. He's an 80 overall right now. Everybody on their team has gotten better. Straw was a 80 overall, and now he's an 85. And even though that's not the biggest jump in the world, like, we're expecting that he's probably going to get his first win here soon. I mean, he's so good. He deserves it, right? And this whole team has just gotten better. And I think it really starts with Caden and Vice Captain Straw and, the brains of the operation, the best player on their team, Enigma. And I can break that down in a second, but I mean, just, wow. What do you think about this surprising turnaround?
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I love to see teams like that jump up and not for us to expect it. I've just been really impressed with all of their players. I mean, you started off with Caden. Hadn't had his first win yet, coming into the season, and even his first game. But getting that win, I think, it kind of solidified himself as a good player. I think a lot of people maybe had some doubts. I've watched the film. I kind of knew he's kind of underrated. He was just missing that little thing to get him over the edge, and he got it. He got the players who he helped build up, who then have now been able to help him with Enigma and with Straw. That trio is really one of the big trios in the league now. It's really insane to look at. I mean, and even with Tim getting that win, I don't think any of us really expected that coming into the season, helping that team out. Nola Grand had an amazing game. It was part of the Ashbears were part of that game. Kind of came in and absolutely wiped the board. Unfortunately, wasn't able to come up with the win. I think Max Power ended up winning that game, but he the jump in his just in his plays were amazing to watch. And it's been fun to watch in the past couple of games, and it's a fun team that I love playing with. I love all the guys on that team. I don't know a ton of them, but honestly, just talking with them has been a joy, and it's always just fun to go toe to toe with them.
They're beloved. I mean, they are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're beloved members of our community. It's just like all of them are such stand-up people. Every time the Raptors and Enigma and Caden and Straw, and every time they play a game, I always hear people just being like, "Man, those guys are cool."
Mm-hmm.
They're really awesome additions here that I feel so just lucky that we get to see play, and man, it's been awesome to see, and especially for a team that historically just hasn't been the best. They've suffered a lot of hardships in the past. The Ruby Raptors have. Their last season wasn't very good, and this year, I mean, the way they've been able to just go on this run and really figure things out, and I really think I just want to hone in on the element of Caden and Enigma and Straw and the way that their chemistry has just made this team a contender. I really feel like Straw is the creative force. I feel like obviously he's known for his incredible creative ideas and the player suggestions and all those things. But I think his creativity for playmaking has really impacted the team. And then Enigma's just pure strategy. I mean, being the best player, and having that competitive edge and knowing when to pull on what, and the strategy that he offers. And then Caden, the heart of the team, the captain that really brings them together. It's just been awesome to see. And, again, especially as the Raptors and the Cuties are tied right now, it's like, where do you go? Do you say that the Cuties are going to return to their form and make the playoff for the third year in the row? Or do you say that the Raptors are just going to continue their hot streak and, times are changing? So I don't know. It's really exciting to see. And I think the last team that we have to cover, because I really do want to reach this playoff picture with you, JD, is the Jelly Jets. The Jets are very interesting.
They are.
Pretty much a complete rebuild from the previous 2 years. The only team in Board Wars history. It depends if you count the chess rules relocating to the Ruby Raptors as the same team. But if you do, that I kind of do, because they're the same team. The Jets are the only team in history to never make the playoffs.
Wow.
And what a turnaround they have had this year. I think in a lot of parts due to just the vice captain, Mr. Java, bringing people in. One of the best rookie classes I think we've ever seen. And that, write that down. Maybe that should be a segment one day. What is the best class? Is it the season 3 Jets, the season 2 Raptors? Maybe just some really exciting rookies they've got. Python, 95 overall, 2-1 in his rookie season, being the first Jet player to hit the 2-win milestone. Very exciting. Hodgepodge continuing to do what he's done in the past, winning a game every year. 1-1 right now. Groove Sloth, even though he lost, 87 overall. Mr. Java, even though he's lost, 83. And, we just saw Swamp Dave play. And, man, he was good. And it's just like they're hitting on all of these rookies. The main question is, going forward, are they going to get the wins that they need? And it's sad to kind of see maybe like the Jets having the best season they've ever had, and maybe they won't be rewarded with playoffs for it. But the league is just so competitive now. I don't know.
Yeah, I think this team has been very fun to watch. Again, just another one of these fun teams that kind of to build up that we weren't really expecting. I mean, first off, you can talk about Python. I mean, right now probably leading for Rookie of the Year, who we'll probably be talking about a little later. 2-1, some great stats, and even if you look at his one loss, it was a very unique circumstance where it was Max Power barely kind of just took him over the edge, but Python was right in it and could have almost been 3-0, which would have been insane. Would have been insane for a rookie. So I think Python has been just one of the biggest rookies that come out of this draft class, but also just for the future, like one of the best players in the game with his knowledge. And then obviously Hodgepodge, once again, like you said, getting that win, always doing that. But I think their situation is interesting with Hodgepodge as the captain and Mr. Java as the vice captain. But I think many of us a lot of times will see Mr. Java in that captain role, just because of where people are living or situation, the certain situation in their life. But I think we've seen even Mr. Java without getting that win. I think you have to give him the credit for the Jelly Jet success. He's done so much for that team, even though he hasn't produced that win from him. He's been able to train up these players in their skill level and their love for the game. You just know the Jelly Jets love Board Wars, and you can see it. It's awesome to see.
You can see it, you can feel it, and just the way that they speak to each other, the way that they operate in these games. You know, it's this team has figured it out. They figured it out, but again, the question is, can they go the distance against these teams that are really just having some historic stretches, against teams that have had, you know, because there are teams that have had success in the past. There are teams that are having a hot streak now. The Jets don't fit into either of those categories. So for me, it's hard to feel like they have a shoe-in for the postseason. And I really hope they do, but I think that's a great just transition here to our next segment, JD.
Yeah.
Now, this next segment, we're going to be talking about our playoff predictions. This is a big deal here, and honestly, doing this right before the divisional games for Act 4 might be setting us up to fail just a little bit. A lot of crazy stuff can happen here on the stretch, and especially now that there's 5 teams with 3 wins. We have a 5-way tie for the middle of the league. Any team can make it. Maybe other than the Llamas, but any other team legitimately could. And because of that, doing this is really hard. So anyway, I mean, I guess I'm just going to start with my place number 8, JD. In 8th place, I have the Llamas. I love the Llamas. I think they're going to get one more win. I do have them projected to win one more time, get their second victory. But I don't have them getting any more than that. And, you know, on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, I mean, with my 8th, sadly, I would have to say the same thing. I have the Llamas at 8th. I have them winning also one more game.
Oh, cool.
I have them winning, honestly, actually their next divisional game. I think whether it's Jacob D or Jeff, I think they pull it ahead in that one. But I think after that, they don't. But at 7, I do have, and I think it's not super surprising just because where they're at. You know, things can change. I do have the Beavers. Again, I have them winning one more. I have Drew. If he gets another, I have him winning another game. And I think they have a lot of they have a lot of star players, but I think it's just the season's end loaded with a lot of good players. I think they're only gonna get one, and I think they're gonna sadly miss the playoffs.
You think they're only gonna get one? Well, man, this is interesting because in my 7th spot, I have the Jelly Jets. I don't think they're gonna win another game. And I love the Jets. I think, you know, huge turnaround from last season. But I'm looking at the matchups. I'm looking at the games that they're going to be a part of. And it just doesn't inspire me. I think there are too many teams that are on such a trajectory that are so overwhelming that even though I think the Jets are amazing and they should be proud of what they've accomplished, I don't see it. I don't, and I can't. I don't know. And we can debate that in a minute. I have them winning zero more games. They're going to be 7th place. And unlike, this next one at my 6th place spot is pretty similar to yours. I do have the Beavers in 6th place as well. I think you said you had them winning one more game. I also have them winning one more game. Mm-hmm. And, I think it's a debate which game that is. My prediction is it's going to be Ryan that's going to do it. We can talk about that Drew game at the end of the season in a minute. That is currently projected right now. But yeah, so I've got the Jets winless at 7 and the Beavers with one more win to their name at 6.
Yeah, as you see, we already have a little difference here. But at my 6, I have the champs from season 1, the Los Cuties.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I think it's a little surprising. I feel like it's a little bit of a hot take with them making the playoff twice in a row and them being champs. Sure. But I feel like I do have them winning a game. Once again, I think their schedule is just looking at it. Obviously, it's projected, but there's a lot of great players in those games, and I just don't have them quite squeaking out on top in those particular games. And I think they only get one. And just because of tiebreakers and stuff like that, they're ultimately I'm not gonna have them making it. And then lastly, with the last team that I don't have making a playoff spot is the red hot Ruby Raptors.
Whoa! Okay.
I don't have them making the playoffs.
Wow.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, I know it's a little bit of a surprise, but once again, I only have them winning one game. And I think once again, they have, I'm sure they have Enigma, maybe Kanan get with second game, but I think their hot streak may end. I think they had a really hot streak, and I think teams might kind of jump on that. And I just don't have them sneaking in, unfortunately.
Very interesting. So how many more games do you have them winning in this final stretch?
I only have them winning one more game.
Okay. Well, that's very interesting to hear. So yeah, at 5, I also do have the Los Cuties. I also have them winning one more game, and I love the Cuties. I think they're an awesome team. It's going to be weird to have the first playoff Legacy Cup games without the Cuties in them since Board Wars' professional inception. It's just, man, there's a lot of really good teams this year, and I just don't know if the Cuties have paced themselves well enough. I don't know if they have enough firepower down the stretch to really solidify a spot for them. And to be fair, I want to say this real quick. I do have the Cuties, the Dragons, and the Raptors tied in wins. So the rest of my list is, it's possible the Cuties only get one more win like I'm predicting. And because of tiebreakers and the wins that they do get, they do make it. But in my 4th place, I'm just going to, show my hand here. I do think it is the Purple Dragons, a team that you've alluded to, thinking making the playoffs. I think they're going to sneak right in at 4 wins. I think they're going to get one more win. And my win I am predicting is Piano Man. I do think he's going to go 3-0 in that game that he's playing in this divisional game upcoming. And I think, the Dragons are going to return for their 2nd year in a row.
Okay. Wow. I like that take because not the moment here, but at the 4 seed, making that first playoff spot, which is very different from yours, is I have the Jelly Jets. I have them at the 4th seed. Wow. I believe in the Jelly Jets. I believe in the vice captain John Avon, his influence, and with Python. We'll talk about him later, but I think they do have a little bit of a harder schedule, but it's honestly, I believe in them. That's also what it comes down to. I think they can scrape out once again one win. So I have them also tied with the Cuties and the Raptors with 4. So obviously it's super close. And any of those things can change. But in the moment, I just think the Jets will take that high ground and end up getting that spot.
Yeah, and that's fair. Like, again, it's really going to come down to it this year. So I think you have them winning one game and I have them winning 0, and that's really where we differ. Like, it's crazy how close everything is. And like, while I do have them in the 7th spot, that just shows you how close it's got. I mean, I don't disagree that that's a possibility, you know. So who do you have right above at number 3?
Yeah. At my 3rd spot for that spot to win the cup, I have the Purple Dragons. The Purple Dragons with getting, once again, one more win.
You have them winning the cup, you said?
At 3 seed with the chance to win the cup.
Okay.
With the chance to win the cup.
I was like, wow.
Sorry if I misspoke. Okay. Sorry if I misspoke. At the 3rd seed. No, if I misspoke, I'm sorry about that. No, the Purple Dragons with one more win. I think they have some great players coming up. I was with Pena Man. I don't have Pena winning that game. I have the Llamas win that game. But I think for their projected, they have some great rookies coming up, and I think one of them scrapes by just with they have a great organization. And once again, I believe when those organizations have that leadership, that they're going to get those wins in those important moments.
Yeah. I mean, that's a fair point. And talking about winning when it matters, my number 3, I've got those red hot Ruby Raptors that, you know, I don't know how much you see. So I do only have them winning one more game to hit the 4-win mark. But man, I mean, they're in a really good position. With the people that they're playing. I mean, they've got a loaded lineup to finish the year. And I think they're in a very favorable position for tiebreakers. I mean, other than the Astro Bears and the Salamanders, they have the highest APF in the league right now. So 3rd highest overall. And it's just a team that I really think is going to benefit from those tiebreakers. It's a team that's really hot coming down the stretch. I can't see a world where they don't win at least one game. And because of their position and the games that they have won so far, I just think that's going to give them the 3 seed overall. And that kind of leads me to my 2 seed, the team that I think is going to be at the top of that division, the Moon Division, is, of course, the beloved Astro Bears. We were talking about it a little bit earlier. The scheduling for the Astro Bears for this end stretch is absolutely unreal. You've got JD, you playing this upcoming divisional game, which we'll get into later in the podcast.
Yeah.
We've got Max Power, who is looking for his 3rd win. We've got Papa Bear looking for his 2nd, trying to get Rookie of the Year nods. And we've got you slated currently to play your 3rd and final game again. So I think all those people combined, that is like 6 career wins combined for those final 4 games. Like,
it's a lot.
Absolutely ridiculous, like, final lineup. And I think the schedule is favorable. There are some teams that just aren't rolling out their best guys at the right times. And I really think the Bears are going to catch some people by surprise and really pour it on as we get into this final stretch. I have you winning 2 games of your last 4 and hitting the 5-win milestone and being the 2 seed.
Okay. I love to hear that. I love to hear that because same as you, Gus, at the number 2 seed, I also have the beloved Astro Bears at the 2 seed with 2 wins. Like you said, I think the schedule is in our favor. And obviously I'm saying that it's me playing in my player, so obviously I have to say that, but I feel like it's true. I feel like even you said it, so I feel like that kind of backs up a little bit about what I'm saying here. But I think we have some with me playing 1-2 games, and we have one of the MVP candidates, Max Power, playing, and with Papa Bear, who's also just had a great season. So I think we, as the Astro Bears, have a really good chance, and I have us winning 2 games, putting us at the top of Moon Division, which leads me to that number 1 seed, which I think if you're crossing it off, I think we all know who it is, the Smoky Salamanders. Okay, the Smoky Salamanders, they're at 5 wins right now. It's a little hard to beat. I don't have them winning another game, just because of I think they've run through a lot of their great players. They do have Slushy with his last game, but I think that game can be very difficult to win. With the divisional tyings and with them already making the playoffs, not much of a need to win it, but overall, I think they've had such a big lead in the season that they're still going to take that number 1 seed coming into the playoffs.
You mentioned Slushy in that final game. I have the Salamanders at the 1 seed as well, of course. I do have them winning a game. And I specifically have them winning that last game of the season. Right now, it's slated to be Drew versus Slushy. If you're following the narrative for my predictions, that means that if the Beavers get a win, they sneak in. And I really think when it matters most, Slushy is going to get the first win of his season. He's going to beat Drew again. He's going to solidify himself as the legend killer. I'm back. And he's going to send the Beavers packing. That is going to be a big-time moment. I think it's the time when the lights are the brightest, and that's when Slushy comes out to play in my mind. I really think that's what's going to happen. It'll be a heartbreaking loss if my predictions are correct for the Beavers. But, I love the Beavers. I'm happy to be surprised with this.
I do too.
And again, these are our predictions, our opinions. Anything could happen. Really anything.
100%.
The only thing I don't think is going to happen is the Llamas have a chance at the playoffs. Other than that, anything else is really on the table. Maybe also other than the Salamanders missing.
Yep.
It's
up to the teams. I don't think they're making it.
You could argue they're not going to get the top seed if someone really does well, but no. And so those are our predictions for how the postseason is going to shape up. I have the Dragons, Raptors, Bears, and Sallies. And you have...
And I have the Jets, Purple Dragons, Astro Bears, and Smoky Salamanders.
So really, we're just swapping the Raptors and the Jets, which is fair. Either way, I want to point out something. Every year that the Legacy Cup happens, it's always 2 teams from the previous year against 2 teams who have never made it. Wow. And if either of our predictions are true, that's going to happen again.
That's insane. That's an insane stat right there.
It is. And I think that really just shows that there's kind of a good changing to this game. There's an equal amount of teams that can stay on top through the years and an equal amount of teams that can rise through the ranks. And I think either a Jets first time make or a Raptors first time as the Raptors make is really something to celebrate. Maybe I shouldn't even ask you this because you're a part of the Astro Bears, but who is your early pick to win that cup? If what you're thinking is true for how it's going to shape.
Yeah, I mean, it is what I believe. I do believe the Astro Bears make the playoffs. I think we have a very high chance. We have very high caliber players. I think with me, I personally, as the captain, I've been there twice. I've fallen short, second place twice.
It's true.
And just speaking from experience, I kind of know how it goes and how to win it. So if I had to choose a team, I would have to choose the Astro Bears.
That's fair. I'm between two. I'm between the Purple Dragons and the Astro Bears. And I just kind of think it's funny. Maybe we're biased.
That is our 2 teams.
So maybe in the future we should have some other people and hear some of their opinions. But
maybe.
I do think I'm the least biased to give an opinion just objectively. Maybe I got a little bit of love for my Dragons, but I really think it's between those 2. I think if the Raptors make it, I love them, but it's their first time under the lights. I don't know how they will shape up. I mean, we don't know. They could really rise to the occasion, but there's no reason for me to believe based on precedent because they've never gotten there before. The Salamanders, I think, obviously are the most experienced, but I think because of their win last year, teams are really going to give them a hard time at 2-peating. Nobody wants to get 2-peated and see, there's only 3 names on that trophy at the end of the season. And nobody wants to see 2 of those names be the same team. Just to be honest with you, I think that's how people are going to feel. That's what I've been gathering. Bears in their first season ever, or Dragons. History shows teams don't win their first year. That's what happens to the Dragons last year. Because of that, I think my tiebreaker would go to the Dragons this year. Really establishing something, and I think they went to the Cup. They performed really well last year. I think they've had a whole year to figure out what it looks like in those big moments and prepare. And as a team, I just think that they're going to peak at the right time and get it done. So I guess my non-biased opinion, if you can call it that, is the Dragons are going to win the championship, the Legacy Cup. And yours is you're picking the Astro Bears. That doesn't make us look very good, JD.
Yeah, it doesn't. Hey, I mean, if the people watching this want that to be different, it's up to you guys. So
come on the pod. Tell us what you think.
Gives your opinion.
And with the end of the season, in those standings, we also have, of course, the awards. There are 4 players nominated for each award. And we kind of have our early picks right now for each of them. We go to the ceremony and, we do the lowest first. But I think maybe actually for the purposes of talking about them, we should go top to bottom.
Okay.
Because there is a rule in Board Wars where if you win 2 awards, you actually only win 1 and you win the highest honor in the totem pole, allowing for multiple people to win. So it might actually be easier to understand and debate some of these if we go based on who we think will win the big ones. So rather than going Vice Captain of the Year at the bottom, let's maybe start with the exciting MVP at the top. Our agreed upon MVP nominees right now, this could change, everything could, is Goober, Piano Man, Max Power, and Python. Now, all of these guys have had a great season. Obviously, Python, it's really huge to see a Jelly Jet get in there, I think, for our nominees. And I think if the season ended today right now, I would have to go Goober.
Okay.
I'm interested. I'm sure you have to agree with that.
Yeah, if the season were to end right now, 3-0, you have to go Goober from the Sallies.
And we're kind of going to split these awards into who would win it right now if it ended today and who we think is going to end up winning it. So is Goober the person you think is going to end up with this award?
At the end of season 3, I have Goober winning the MVP. I do. I really do. I think the 3-0, he already has a little head start, and I think they're obviously going to make the playoffs, and I think he's going to get at least 1 playoff win.
It's fair. That's a very fair assumption, and he's really on trajectory to do this at the moment. So honestly, I don't hate that at all. But I do actually think this award is going to end up in the hands of somebody else. And again, call me an ex-Dragon, but I really don't think this is biased talking. But I like Piano Man for the award. I really think Piano Man is a more offensive player. He's got some of those stats coming up, and B, I really like the game he's going to be playing for his 3rd win. I really do think he's going to win that 3rd game.
Fair.
So I'm kind of operating off of the assumption that he does. And if they go into the playoffs 3-3, and again, if the season ended right now, in all likelihood it's Goober anyway. But Piano Man, I really think has a good chance down the stretch to win it. And it's not that Max Power and Python aren't also capable of turning things around. Again, all these nominees could win. But man, I don't know if Max Power is going to get that 3rd win. Python isn't unless he makes playoffs, which I've already said I don't think is going to happen. And if Piano Man goes into the playoffs with Goober's track record of not winning a playoff game, I don't know. I'm open to being surprised. I would love to see Goober win an MVP. I think it's been really cool to see how his career has developed since season 1, really growing into a superstar. And this would be a really cool nail in that coffin. But I think I've got to say, I think it's going to be Piano Man.
Hey, and that's not crazy. He's had an amazing season. I think any of those guys do have a chance. It just comes up to, can they make those big plays in the playoffs? Because that's what it comes down to. You need a playoff win to get that MVP. That really what it comes down to. So if they can come in those big moments in the spotlights, can they do it? That's the real question.
That's right. And I think continuing on is Captain of the Year, an award that, all of these awards we always say is so much determined by the playoffs. Captain of the Year really is. I mean, the winner of the Legacy Cup every year has won Captain of the Year. It's kind of interesting going into this one. Our 4 nominees are Indiana Jones, Gideon, JD, and Caden. Those are our 4 current nominees for Captain of the Year. Things could change always.
Yeah.
And I think I would say, I'm interested. I'm going to defer to you.
Okay.
If the season ended today, who wins this award?
Oh man, if the season ended today,
It's a tough one.
It is a tough one because I mean, obviously you have 3 of those teams that have the same record, and you have the Sallies up at 5. I would have to go. Caden if it ended now. I think what the Raptors.
Really?
I do. I would go Caden right now. What the team has done and what I feel like he has brought to that table to change the locker room vibe. I contributed to him, so I would have to give it to Caden. How about you, Gus?
That's hilarious because I deferred to you because I was like, oh, you're going to say, somebody like Gideon or JD, and then I'm going to come in here with the hot take of Caden.
I beat you to it.
But that didn't happen. We agree. That's crazy. No, I think if the season ended right now, Caden would be, and like you said, it's just, he's changed the culture so much. He's come in here and he's also performed well. That's not really what the award is about, but it helps.
It helps.
It's like a tiebreaker.
It helps to see he's improved his game, that he's still locked in.
Right. And I think we kind of agree that the terms of this award is like the best leader, right? The guy who has really shaped things the best way and done the most to help his team and help them go all the way. And then tiebreakers, if there are 2 guys that are close, is more of individual success.
Yes, I agree.
And because of that, JD, I actually have the end of the season winner of this changing.
Really?
I think there is going to be a guy who comes in here, he's going to win a game or 2, and he's going to, be a better player than Caden was overall. I think this team is going to perform better than the Raptors in the playoffs. And because of that, JD, you are my captain of the year that I think is going to have it at the end. And again, it really just comes down to those factors. Playoff success matters, tiebreakers for playing. And even though you're 76 right now, I think we're going to see an insurgence of you. So, I mean, I don't know. I can't imagine I'm going to get pushback of that from you, but who do you have having it at the end?
Obviously, first of all, appreciate it, Gus. Obviously with me in it, as like someone running the podcast, obviously it's difficult because you got to give your objective opinion. That's kind of what we strive for, you and me. We want to make sure we're given the facts and all that. With that, looking at it, just taking a step back, I think my 2, I'll give you my 2, and then I'll give you my 1. My 2 at the top would be first Ian. Being you leaving and him being able to take charge, and I have to make the playoffs, have them doing great. So be able to do that without you is insane. Be able to see that he's a true captain, and it's only his 2nd year, which is crazy. And then I also have me up there for the 2nd, just with starting a new team. And I also have us making the playoffs. But in the end, I am gonna have to take myself.
All right.
I do have to take myself.
You gotta bet on yourself.
Yeah, I feel like I have to, and I feel like, and it's not anything against any other captains. Every captain's doing great, but I think our team success, because in the end, the last 2 captains have also won the cup, and I do believe that the Beavers have just a high chance as any other team to do that. So that's kind of why I have myself up there. But I mean, it's by a very slim margin.
I mean, I agree, and I'm glad you said that thing about Indiana Jones. He is just an incredible captain, taking the reins. And if my predictions are all correct, this is going to be the first time we see a captain win the cup and not win the Captain of the Year award. I think so much of this game, so much of the Captain of the Year conversation is based around change. And I think it's just hard to beat a guy who takes a team from not existing to, competing for a cup. That's also kind of why Gideon is our 4th nominee, and neither of us have really talked about him yet.
This is an award. Honestly, the fact that Gideon is even nominated again shows you how great of a captain
For
he is.
sure.
But because this award is about change, it's just we're never gonna see a guy win it 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Just because if it's really about who changed the most, and if you were good last year, you're good this year. So all love to Gideon, and I just the fact he's on this list is even insane.
No.
But it's very much deserved with those 5 wins that I've got them projected for. As that kind of takes us to Offensive Player of the Year. Man, and we've got some powerful nominees here, but they're kind of overshadowed by one guy, in my opinion. So we've got Enigma, who broke the offensive record this year, which really counts for a lot.
Oh, 100%.
That really rises him in the rankings. Even though he doesn't have the best collective kills and damage, breaking the single game record is a feat for sure. We've got Papa Bear in our nominees. We've got Piano Man, which, if I'm correct and he wins MVP, he can't win Offensive Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got the final guy, who I think is the favorite, Caleb Ward. And I just want to start by saying, if the season ended today, Caleb would get it.
Yeah.
I think we have to agree on that. And I really am just projecting that he's going to continue. Caleb Ward really has a chance at breaking the single season damage record, which is crazy because the person who currently holds that record played 6 games. And Caleb is like literally within 200 damage of breaking that record, and he's only played 3. That is half the games. Caleb Ward has the most damage per game out of any player that has a minimum of 2 games played.
Insane.
He has dealt 3,000 damage. 3,000, which is ridiculous. And he's played 3 games. 3,170 damage. By the way, right now, second place is Papa Bear at 1,700.
Hey,
that is almost half. That is almost half, though.
That's crazy.
Second place is literally almost half down the totem pole from Caleb. And it's just really a question of, if he breaks that record, does he make the playoffs? Because if he does, that record's his. Mm-hmm. It belongs to him, and he's going to win it. And I think even if he doesn't make the playoffs, he is going to be my Offensive Player of the Year. I just can't see anybody catching him.
Yeah, I mean, I fully agree. I think it's so difficult. Like, those stats are insane. Like you said, with Papa Bear at second and like double, Papa Bear has had some great offensive games. I can't even imagine having like twice the amount. Like, that is just almost unimaginable. I can't even imagine myself doing all that. I'm like, I don't even know how there's that much damage and kills on the board for Caleb to do that. It's just impressive in just these 3 games. And if he makes
1,000 a game,
yeah,
1,000 damage a game. It's just, it's mind-boggling, like you were saying. And I do want to say, like, I want to throw Enigma a bone here, though, because he currently does have 818 damage per game. That is excellent.
That's great.
It's really going to depend. Papa Bear has like 850. It depends on how this final game goes for each of them. Mm-hmm. I will say it's harder to have such a high damage per game count for a 3-game sample size. Could you imagine them increasing by 200 per game? Like, they would need an insane, like Enigma would need to replicate his game he played earlier this year to even have a chance.
Yeah.
And and Papa Bear and Enigma would probably need to get his second win, which, is that going to happen? I don't know.
It's difficult.
This to me, especially because Caleb Ward can't win MVP, and he isn't in our nominees for Captain of the Year, this is the easiest layup for me.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, we can just go on to Depoy if you want.
Yeah. I mean, we go right ahead. I feel like yeah, Caleb kind of just takes the spot there. I mean, there's so many other great players, but he's just kind of having those once in a career type of season.
Yeah. Do you want to list off our nominees for Depoy? And this one is a little bit more of an argument.
Yes, it is. This one is a little more argument. So yeah, Defense Player of the Year. Our 4 nominees is Python from the Jelly Jets. We have Gideon, Captain of the Sallies. Goober, 3-0. and Max Power, vice captain of the Astro Bears. Now, Gus, if you had to
Yeah.
pick one right now at this point in the season, who are you taking?
Well, if the season ended today, we both agreed that Goober would be MVP, so he couldn't win if the season ended today. Depoy. Because of that, it's really, to me, between Gideon and Max Power. I like Python, but it just the performances haven't been adequate in my mind from between Max's and Python. And I think also it doesn't help that Python lost head to head to Max in a defensive end game as well. We've seen 3 games out of Python. We haven't seen 3 games out of Max. That's a factor. If Max wins this 3rd game, he pulls away with it. But to me, this reward is really between Gideon and Max. And I've got to say, I think between those guys right now, I would give it to Gideon. Max is an incredible player. It's just, for me in this award, Max has played very well defensively, but he's also balanced that with a very exciting offensive attack. He's like 8th in the league in damage and kills per game. Like, he's got 6 kills per game. It's not like he doesn't attack people. Gideon has won through historic defensive means, is kind of what I'll say. Like, the Dragon Ball win is so unheard of. The game that he won, I think it was after that, where he played against some
Caleb Ward and Johnny. Great game.
I mean, that was a defensive masterclass, a political anomaly that we got to see because of the Information Act. The first time we've really seen that from Gideon, just due to how much the Information Act props up politics and makes it more visible and clear. And man, that was such a convincing game, taking down 99 overall Caleb Ward and 91 overall Johnny. And I will say, like, Gideon had 9 kills in that game, which is a lot of kills, but he played defensively, and even with those 9 kills, he only goes up to 13 kills on the year. Which through 3 games is impressively low compared to Max's 12 through 2 games. So to me, it's like Gideon is so much more committed to the defensive craft. He's done such a impressive job at making history in that field this season, and if it ended today, I would have to lean that way.
I mean, actually, I don't know who you think I'm choosing, but if it ended right now, I would also take Gideon. They both have the 2-game sample size, and although I think Max games have been, you kind of talked a little bit, have defensive and have been also getting some of those kills. I think Gideon's his 2 games, like that the sample size we have right now with the Dragon Ball game, and then with kind of the first Information Act game where he kind of showed kind of that defensive play style. I think that puts him over at the moment, over Max Power.
Yeah, I mean, I just agree. And now the real interesting question to me comes in this. At the end of the year, who do we think it's going to be? Because I have Piano Man winning MVP, that makes Goober eligible for Depoy. And it's just got to be Goober. I mean, Goober is having one of the best seasons in the world. If he doesn't win MVP, he's winning Depoy. And because I don't have him in the MVP, that makes it so clear for me. But because you have Goober winning MVP, this becomes a lot more interesting to you. How do you think that's going to develop?
Yeah, I mean, with me having Goober winning the MVP, and obviously you have Piano Man, who is less of defensive, more offensive, you're kind of left with my 2 original guys, Gideon and Max Power. And they're both at 2-0. So it's kind of, what do I think will happen in the future? And at the end of the season, I do have Max Power win Defensive Player of the Year. I think his play style, he is my player. I know his play style is going to be a little more, is naturally more defensive. So I think we're going to see that. As the captain, I'm going to give him the chances. Hopefully as we make the playoffs, to have those chances. I think also we saw last year Gideon didn't play himself, and obviously he's kind of improved as a player, so that could be interesting. How many games he takes because he has so many good players on his team. But in the
Well,
end,
he's never played a playoff game before.
exactly. So
Like, he's never done
yeah,
that.
and neither has Max either. Um, but I think in that in my projections, I do have Max scraping by with that defensive play of the year.
That's fair, JD. I mean, especially considering Max has still a third regular season opportunity to get a third win.
Yeah.
Which is relatively likely.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you look at that game and who's slated to play. I think that's a fair take. I think it also really just depends, again, who wins MVP.
Yeah.
Is Goober in the conversation or not?
Yep.
And it really depends on how Gideon performs in the postseason.
Exactly.
If he gets a playoff game, if he gives himself one finally,
Mm-hmm.
and how he does. Will be huge for Gideon narratives for his career
100%.
also.
I'm excited to see it. I'm a big Gideon fan.
Me too. As we kind of go to the MIP area, this award is very interesting as well because we have, I think the front runner for this award, you have winning defensive player of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But the MIP nominees are Max Power, Piano Man, Enigma, and Johnny. So my MVP and your defensive player of the year is competing for this MIP, and it really just comes down to if we think one of them is going to slip through the cracks.
Yeah.
If we agree that right now, if the season ended today, Max wouldn't win defensive player of the year,
Mm-hmm.
that must mean that if the season ended today, he would win MIP.
Yes. I would have to agree with that.
I don't think he will win Defensive Player of the Year. I do think Piano Man will win MVP, which takes him off of this list. And if it's between Max, Enigma, and the fourth, which is Johnny,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going Max.
Yeah. It makes sense. Yeah, I feel like with the process elimination, how our awarding works, with Piano Man, if he wins MVP, he's left with Max, Enigma, Johnny. Enigma, Johnny both had great seasons, but I don't think it's as most improved as Max's season. So I would have to agree with you. If Piano Man won MVP, it would be Max Power. But because I have Goober winning MVP, and then I have Max winning Defensive of the Year, that leaves Piano Man with most improved player, which is
right.
Not like when I was doing my projections. It's not like something I wanted to do. Like, he's having an amazing season.
Yeah.
And his season should be aligned with the war, but so many players are having that peak amazing season right now. And one of those players is gonna fall through the cracks. And it's just that's how my projections are right now.
It's true. And you know what? You look back on the MIPs and maybe you're a little bit less inspired. Season 1's MIP went to Caden Gillum, and he didn't even win a game that year. So then people were like, "Oh, this is a bum award." Season 2 went to Ryan Joggers, and people were like, "Okay, it's got some clout."
Mm-hmm.
I think season 3 and going forward, the MIP is going to be such a big award because as the league grows and people just get better, every year I could imagine someone is going to slip through the cracks. Like, you're going to have really good players winning the MIP award. And because of that, it's like, whether it's Max or Piano Man or neither of them, if they both somehow win awards, whoever wins the MIP should really be like that is going to be an impressive feat going forward. And I think as we kind of evaluate like narratives for careers and, oh, did they win the big awards? I think we're going to have to account for the MIPs. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. The next award is the Hodgepodge Award. And I think you and I kind of agreed that because it's kind of a vote by the people, for the people, we're not really going to commentate on that. That award really, if you're interested in how you should vote, is just people that you think are have the best like positive impact on the community. They're the best sports. Think of it as like a sportsmanship award mixed with like a passionate endorsement award for someone who really is just a champion of the game, someone who not only is great to be around, but someone who loves Board Wars and improves the quality of life of it so much. Just really think about that in your hearts when you're voting for it. I mean, is there anything you want to say about that award?
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit it right on. It's not really a award about like your actual gameplay. It's more about kind of your impact on the community really. Kind of your love for the game. I think we saw with the past two winners. It was really just they love board wars, they love the people, and they help to improve it. And I think that's kind of what we look for when we're voting on that. I think it's good that we kind of talk about it so everyone's kind of aware of like what exactly who that award should be given to. I think that's good.
Yeah. No, I agree, JD. And that takes us to Rookie of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
Rookie of the Year has 4 nominees that we agreed upon. That is going to be Bucky on the Barbecue Beavers, Charlie on the Barbecue Beavers, Papa Bear on the Astro Bears, and Python on the Jelly Jets. And I think by default, if the season ended today, it would be Python. Do you agree with that?
I 100% agree. I think it has to go to him.
Yeah, I mean, 2 wins
Yeah.
versus 1. I mean, it's just math.
Yeah.
It's just math. And I will say, Python is nominated for an MVP. This isn't just it's a Rookie of the Year. Like, no, he's 2-1, and the game that he lost to Max Power in that defensive showdown, he lost by inches.
Barely.
Like, if things go differently, Python very easily could be 3-0 right now. Just an incredible player, and it would be exciting for him to take home the Rookie of the Year award. As the season develops, who do you think is going to take it when it's all said and done?
Yeah, this one, obviously, sometimes these boards are difficult because of the playoffs, but I think you have to go with Python from the Jets. With his 2 wins already, with the potential he has shown, and with me projecting him to make the playoffs, I think he's gonna get at least another game, and I think he has a super high chance of winning that game. I think he's already one of the best players in the league, and I think he's gonna be able to prove it. And I hope that he would be able to get this award because he really does what he's done in the league. I think he's shown everyone that he's meant to be here.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely demonstrated like a high ability to play, and I've just got to agree. I mean, I think Papa Bear is a really close second. I really respect what Charlie and Bucky have done in this rookie season, and there's a possibility that somebody else that's a rookie wins a few games, and these nominees look different
100%.
by the time we start voting. But I love Papa Bear. I think he's got a lot of potential, and it's really going to come down to how he does in this 3rd game.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we were talking kind of head-to-head earlier for the Defense Player of the Year award, I think, and it was, Python or Max, and who do we give the leg up to? I think it kind of has to apply to this conversation as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Python beating Papa Bear head-to-head
really
doesn't help the comparisons, so... I mean, I agree, and that kind of takes us to the final award, which is the Vice Captain of the Year, a new award due to the Vice Captain title being instated this season. And the nominees for that are Piano Man, Cereal, Straw, and Mr. Java. And JD, this award isn't, a who is the best at playing board wars. It's really who does the best job at either being a captain in place of their, captain who's gone or busy, or it's who supports their captain the best.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really just a team building leadership award. And honestly, some very good nominees here.
Great nominees. Some great vice captains. Who do you have as it, Gus?
Well, I think if the season ended today, JD, it would have to be Mr. Java. I mean, the turnaround for the Jelly Jets, him being really, the crux of those changes, it really revolves around him in that locker room, and he's set them up for many years to be good.
Mm-hmm.
With these rookies he's brought in and trained, he's just completely transformed the Jelly Jet culture. I gotta say, though, I think it's close. And I think going into this, we all kind of think of Mr. Java. First of all, do you agree that if it ended today, it would be him?
If it ended today, yes, I agree. It would be Mr. Java.
But I don't think it's as far apart as people are making it out to be. Piano Man, I've witnessed Piano Man really be, a good locker room presence. I know Ian would champion him as a vice captain who really helps build that. Like Indiana, he's going to be the first guy to tell you he's not doing it alone. He's got the best vice captain in his corner, and I think there's credit where credit is due. Granted, it's not as severe as Mr. Java. I also think Piano Man, in my opinion, is out of the competition because he's going to win another award.
Yeah.
That comes down to Straw and Cereal. And Cereal, man, he is amazing.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to talk about the Hodgepodge Award, but dude, little just under the table, Cereal, man. Wow, Cereal. I mean, the way that he's just completely helped the Barbeque Beavers through the absence of Drew and really stepped up in those ways. And he was awarded with vice captainship for a reason. Huge support, huge leadership guts that he's shown. And then Straw. I mean, man, that team has completely changed its culture too. And I think the difference between these two guys we've mentioned and John, Mr. Java, is that Mr. Java really seems to be the sole driving force behind these things. Hodgepodge, he'll admit, with all he's got going on, hasn't been the captain that maybe he's wanted to be. He hasn't been as available. Whereas Straw, I mean, he's got Caden with him all the time. He's, Cereal, even though he was kind of thrown into the wind, like, he's now in a position where he's got Drew, and he's also received assistance from, like, Bucky and Brent and Mr. Java. It's felt like so many times, man, he's really just building this from ground zero, and it's hard to overlook him for this award.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad we're recognizing all of them because, I mean, first I just want to shout out Cereal. I think similar in John's situation where Captain just wasn't really able to be around, and for Cereal, Drew literally wasn't in the country. He wasn't here for the games, for the team, unfortunately. So I feel like you have to shout out Cereal just being able to his just hopping into the season, like just being able to learn on the spot. And I think that's what the vice captain's all about. But I do think that in the end it is gonna be Mr. Java, just because, like you said, Cereal, he was really kind of the sole force, but Drew's back now. Java, though, he is still kind of that engine right now, and he's gonna stay, and it's gonna stay like that. And obviously, there's so many good nominees like Strong Piano Man, but right now I don't think how any way we could stray away from Mr. Java winning that award.
And as the season develops, do you still have Mr. Java winning that award?
I do, because I mean, I have to make the playoffs, and I don't think too much of this award. I mean, we can discuss it, but for this exact award, I don't know too much on making the playoffs. I think this one kind of more depends than Captain of the Year. It gets more situational, but I do think for this situation, for the Jelly Jet situation, and Mr. Java really kind of building up these rookies, and I see it firsthand, practice games, always being there with them, kind of training them up, kind of hyping them up, kind of changing the vibe of that team. I think I'd still have to go Mr. Java.
For sure. I mean, I agree. I did write down, though, something that I kind of want to point out.
Okay.
I think Straw could win.
Okay.
I really do. And I think if the season develops, if the Raptors make it and the Jets don't, kind of like I was thinking they would.
Yeah.
Straw, I've witnessed such a ownership of Raptor culture and such a contributing force to those building blocks. And I don't know if this is the year that Straw's going to win this award. I mean, I'm sure he's going to be a vice captain in years to come, and John has had an excellent offseason. I mean, we just can't talk enough about how good Mr. Java is. But Straw, I don't think it's that far off. I really think Straw has done a lot for that team. And the way that people vote, and the people that they, have experience with, Straw is a very popular player.
Definitely.
People love Straw, and I just think there's a chance
Yeah.
that he takes it. I mean, I really do. I think it's more of a battle than people think, and I'm kind of pushing against a wave of Mr. Java sweeps is what I'm saying. So I don't know if it's 50-50. Like, I wouldn't say it's that close. But I'm just saying I don't think this is a blown out race.
Yeah.
Like it may initially seem. And really credit to Straw, really credit to Serial, as these are our award predictions. So
Yeah.
I mean, you and I are pretty similar. I think we agree on a lot of things.
There was only a few minor, MVP defense player was a little different.
Yeah. Well, that's also just MVP is kind of a big one to differ on, I guess. And we'll see as the season kind of winds down really what's going to happen, and anything could.
Yeah.
Anything could. I mean, these nominees could be just different.
100%.
But that's also why I like this podcast.
Yeah.
We get to record as the season progresses how these conversations change.
Exactly.
So. Very exciting stuff as we just get to wind down this episode by getting into the weekly setup for this Saturday's game. And boy, is it an exciting weekly setup. So JD, we're going to go into this next segment, and as you know, we do have a special guest that is about to join us.
Oh, do we?
So you'll see who that is. And the big reveal, the special guest joining us in the debut episode of the Board Wars official podcast, the one and only Mr. Gideon, who we've talked a lot this episode, and he's not going to know what we said until, the episode's there. But it's such a pleasure to have Mr. Gideon here, really because this game we're about to break down or set up for this coming up week is a game that JD, you yourself are going to be involved in.
I am.
So I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are, JD, but, when it comes to the verdict, I think Gideon might help us have more of an unbiased result here.
Yeah.
So, Gideon, I mean, first of all, thanks for coming on, man. And, you're going to probably be on this quite a few times. I mean, we've talked about, but going into this matchup, I mean, what are your main thoughts just straight off?
Honestly, the replacement of from what I originally knew as a JJ Noah to John Avila made this game so much more interesting in my mind. I was
agree.
JJ Noah was one of the very few rookies that I've seen play in practice games in person. And he was an extremely nice guy and everything like that, but I wasn't fully looking forward to I know exactly how this player plays, and this player is going to play like this around these people. But John joining really made the game a lot different in my mind, being that he knows two of these people extremely well. Accio and JD he's played with a multitude of times, meaning that it's going to be a very interesting dynamic in what his first game made as a newly vice captain, where he really has to prove a lot. That's a really interesting dynamic to me. Obviously, JD, no offense, Mr. Turner, but isn't on the hottest streak right now. 0-1. But honestly, JD's always really fun to watch. JD is one of only two players to ever get 3 extra games in a single, or 3 extra characters in a single turn, or a single game.
Really?
Besides Accio Dub as well. Those are the two characters.
Combination?
Yeah, Accio got 2 summons, 1 revive his last game, and JD got 1 summon, 2 revives. And if you look through those games, they were very, very interesting on how they exactly worked as well. The whole game, they weren't just playing catch up. They were trying their hardest to make these plays past stuff. And when these players are trying to kind of play this catch up game, some players, we don't even see a lot of people get to those 8 or 7 deaths, because most people, after they have their characters die, are just kind of given up. And I think it'll truly show exactly how much of a not toss up this game is going to be, but how scrappy it's going to be between these three players. And then
I agree, Gideon.
obviously the current single game kill record holder Enigma is popping up in this game as well. It's about to
For
be
sure.
um, a very, very interesting game because I think Enigma is a completely different play style to those other three players.
Mm. No, I would definitely agree. And you were talking about just how this matchup is more of a coin toss now. And I totally agree. I mean, I think it's a lot more interesting than seeing a career debut in an Act 4 divisional game. I think it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, man, I was doing some digging into Enigma and Mr. Java because these are some of the most interesting players to me in these young careers since season 2. And they actually made their league debut in the same game, and Enigma won. So that is the only time
That's
these
cool.
two. Yeah, isn't that interesting?
It is.
So that is kind of a full circle moment here coming into this huge high stake. Every team has 3 wins.
Mhm.
Winner takes the lead of the division and has a foot in the door for playoffs and this massive stakes game. And on top of that, Enigma, the 2 games that he lost, he did not play against the Jelly Jets. He's never lost to the Jets. The 2 games he's won, he has played against the Jelly Jets.
Yeah.
So Enigma is 2-2 in his career. 2 wins against the Jets. The 2 losses, the Jets weren't in it. Man, I gotta say, even though it is a toss-up, because of that and the history with him and Mr. Java, I almost feel like maybe we've seen something similar happen before. And JD, I don't think you've played against Enigma, have you?
I have not. I've never played against Enigma.
You've played against Straw. That's it.
I have.
It. Yeah.
They're both really nice guys, but they have honestly really differing play styles.
100%.
Yeah, they play very differently.
Like,
So,
very
I mean,
different.
immediately, I'm kind of looking at Enigma for this matchup. And the idea of Enigma winning this game excites me also, just because first 2-win season in Raptor history, that's huge. But also, I mean, all time, he then jumps up to 3 wins, 2 losses. And I think this could be an emerging moment for Enigma to kind of take a step towards the top of the all-time leaderboard. JD, you're nodding over there. What do you think about that?
You know, I mean, I agree. If Enigma got that win, 3-2, you would have to put him up there. That would be insane. Obviously, I don't think that's how the game's gonna go. I mean, I feel like you have to have yourself winning it, no matter what the odds are against you. You got to believe in yourself. But I think my first game wasn't up to par with my performance from the season before. I think that could be a combination of maybe not having a captain there, maybe not having a person next to me, maybe a little rusty. Maybe it just wasn't the game for me. I mean, there's a lot of things you could say was about it, but I do know this game is gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited to be playing against some amazing players, especially Mr. Java. We have played many. We've had a professional game against each other. I did beat him. Gideon was also in that game. But I've also just had a ton of practice games with John. So I think it's gonna be very interesting because we know each other's playstyles very well. We actually just played a practice game a few days ago. And we knew exactly what we were gonna do the term before because we've just talked so much about board wars and know each other's playstyle. So I'm very, very interested to see how that dynamic works. But I'm happy to get another game in. I really want to prove that I'm one of the best out there. So I'm looking for that win and also to solidify a spot for the Bears.
Yeah, it would solidify a spot for the Bears. JD, it would also take you to the 4th win of your career, which, would really put you up for higher than you are, because right now the all-time things are kind of like, oh, well, JD had one really good season, MVP, playoff win type stuff. But then season 1's a little bit of a stain. And if season 2 renders winless, I don't know. How do you think, Gideon, how do you think that would affect JD's legacy here?
I mean, this is the thing, Gus. I think a lot of the times players look at players will look at things like broadly. And they'll look at it as like, well, JD has like, if you were looking at a season right now, he has a loss. Um, but I think you really have to look broadly in those things to see like, I think like second places and other things like that is like you didn't get in the best position that you could have, but if things swayed different this way or they swayed different this way, you could have 100% won. And a lot of the times I won't count a player out because they've lost a multitude of games. Like right now, JD's at 0 and 1 for the season. There's a lot of really good players that I've seen that are 0 and 2, 0 and or not 0 and 3 yet. But like you always just have like hopes and like I guess optimism for their next games because truly I think JD's is an above 25% player, which means that the win rate that you're supposed to have is 25%. Going into a game because there's three other people. I think the best players can get up to a 35% at the most, and I think JD is one of those people. Now, depending on the dynamic of the game and everything like that, it could always change, but I think JD is an amazing player, and counting him out of any game is a stupid idea in my mind.
No, I completely agree with you. And now that we're kind of talking about JD and the history that you mentioned, JD, of the times you've played against Mr. Java and sent him home, you start to think about this game maybe under a Jelly Jet. What is it called? Like a
Jelly Jet
like
lens.
a wool of, Jelly Jet, like I don't know, maybe some mysticism surrounding this game for the Jets because Mr. Java wasn't even supposed to get this game. But now he's getting his shot at a third game, the first win he would ever have in his career. And not only is he beating Enigma, who sent him home in his league debut, but he's also beating JD, a player who has rich history with, has beaten him before. Could this be the Mr. Java get back game? I just think that's a really exciting narrative that, like, if you really get into the Jet culture and you're really like, I don't know, I could maybe see it. I earlier in this episode predicted, I think, JD to win this game. But I mean, there's just something in the air, I think, that Mr. Java could come in and surprise people. And we're kind of leaving out the Cuties right now, but I could see a pretty decent world where Akio Dub surprises some people, being next to Caleb, being in the Cuties system and in the HQ. I mean, last time we saw him play, he wasn't in the Cuties HQ. He was actually playing alongside Mr. Java. And it's just interesting, man. I mean, how do you guys feel about Akio Dub and his debut, and what are his chances in this one?
Yeah, I mean, I can start. I think first of all, I think it's just gonna be a great game. I think with how the standings are and with everything just split, pretty evenly, that it's really just gonna come down to the best man wins. And I think obviously because we're talking about me, been talking about John, talking about Enigma, they've all had careers, or at least Enigma and I have. John has the potential to, and we kind of see that with him building up the players. But with Akio Dub, we see that less, but I think he has just a high of a potential, kind of just with this team putting up those rookies, and especially with Caleb Ward, potential Offensive Player of the Year winner. You can see that when you have that guy next to you, it can help you so much. Just being able to understand tiles and abilities, especially if you're new to the game, and if you're kind of a lot of time players, if you're natural at it and you got that guy next to you, a lot of times those guys take the dub.
That's a very good point. And so I mean, JD, you're very biased,
Yeah.
of course. If you weren't winning, who would you see taking this home?
If I don't win, I would see Mr. Java win. I think
Wow.
he's due for a game. I feel like you obviously I think he has 0 and 5. Correct? I think that's correct. So we haven't seen him come out with it. I think he's gonna want it more than anybody else in this game. I think his players are gonna want it more than anybody else, especially if he has his guys next to him. So if I don't come out on top, that is who I would have.
So what's the decision there to go with Mr. Jaffa over Enigma.
Yeah. So I mean,
Enigma, we've seen him beat him before.
yes, no, we have seen being four, but I think they're also two different players. Both of them growing in their talents. Um, I see, and honestly, it is still gonna be a little biased. I see a lot of John. I kind of see the potential. And I don't see as much as Enigma. You never know. Enigma with the kill record, but I don't know if you'll be able to kind of wipe through all three of us like that. I think it's gonna be a little different of a game, and with the diplomacy and how everyone really needs this win. I think it's gonna be taken a little bit slower at the start. And it's gonna be whoever can take the best advantage in that moment for diplomacy and kind of get a step ahead of everyone. And I think, other than
Yeah.
me, I think Mr. Java has the best potential to do that.
I don't know, man. It's interesting. I agree with like the narrative surrounding it, but it's hard for me to give Enigma. It's hard for me to give Mr. Java the nod over Enigma. 2-2 versus 0-5, and I understand there's more that goes into that, but man, Enigma is a part of a red hot Ruby Raptor team that is 3 of their last 5 wins.
Mm-hmm.
And this is their perfect opportunity to be the 1 seed, I think, for the first time in Raptor career. And you're saying that like Mr. Java wants this, but the Raptors are hungry, man. That pack and their carnivorous meat and all those things, that they talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I don't know. It's just Enigma with Straw and Caden in his corner.
True.
For a game that's gonna, a red hot team, guy that's been 2-2 and can really take the extra step. I don't know. Gideon, what do you think?
It's a very, very interesting. Sorry.
You're good.
You're
good.
The thing that I kind of wanted to look at is like strength of schedule this season. John has had some pretty difficult games, and honestly, I was going through this entire season for these 4 players just to see exactly what they've gone up against, see if there's any fun things that happened, if these players have played each other before this season. And John has had some tough games. It was Charlie Caden Tribesman, Piano Man Jeff Cheddarbob.
Yeah.
Those are some difficult games to be in.
It's true.
And especially with him being a newly made vice captain, he's gonna have to learn that political system very, very quickly. And one thing about practice games is it's almost impossible to simulate board wars environments of old politics in a board wars like practice game. I've tried doing it before and it's hard to simulate.
Yeah.
But this new gen politics, it's so much easier too because it's just talking with people. It's just saying, hey, by the way, that thing that we did before, you can't do that now. It's a swap up, but it makes it to where I think players like JD and John are going to have a much, much higher advantage when they've had all these practice games with this new rule set. In my opinion, JD, I think what he's looking at is John to win. And if those 2 players are in a headlock, I think Enigma does his thing where he tries going through and he tries breaking the kill record again. And I have an unpopular opinion, which, unpopular opinion's unpopular. I think Akio slips through with a win.
Yeah. Wow.
I think he's
Whoa.
I think he's
Wow.
I think he's a more defensive based player. Like I said, he got 3 extra characters in a single game. He's willing to build himself back up when he's not in the best position.
It's not ridiculous.
He was playing by himself the last time, or I think he was playing with Mr. Avila.
Yeah.
And, I love John more than anybody else in the entire world. And I think he's honestly my second place if Akio wasn't going to win. But the truth of the matter is that Caleb is such an amazing captain. And I think he knows his players a lot better than John would, even if there's some blood relativity. I could see Accio slipping away with a sneaky Goob-esque win where he doesn't get hit and then takes over with Caleb's amazing guidance.
Wow. Wow. You know what? It's not ridiculous. It's not ridiculous to say that. I think I think the Cuties, I mean, you can never count them out. And, we were just going over our playoff predictions for this season. And, we are not counting on them really winning some of these games that are a little bit sneaky, like you're saying. But, I mean, the Los Cuties, they've never missed the playoffs.
Uh-huh.
I don't hate that, Gideon. I really don't. I think that's your lock. I think mine is going to have to be Enigma. And I understand what you're saying. I don't think Enigma is going to approach this game the same way he approached the game where he broke the kill record.
Yeah.
I think he's going to play a little bit more laid back. I think Straw and Caden are going to really urge him on the side of caution. And, I think JD and Mr. Java are going to be thinking about each other, kind of like you were saying. I don't think Enigma's going to be in the forefront for the beginning of this game. I think JD will... If this happens in my head, JD takes a lead early. He starts to look scary. Mr. Java and JD clash. I think Enigma finds a way underneath Accio Dub, and he's in the best spot going into Apocalypse. I like the Raptors. I like Enigma, but I respect the Accio Dub lock.
Yeah.
Now it comes down to JD. I mean, JD, I want to know what you think. Gideon, what do you think? Do we say he's allowed to pick himself?
You want to know what? This is my thing, okay? I think that there is a reason you put me on this council, okay?
Yeah.
And that's because JD's going to have some bias. If I was the one playing in this game, I'll tell you right now, if I was going up against 3 Dr. Lukes that were all teaming up against me, I would still say I was going to be winning. And that's the mentality you have to have as a Board Wars player.
Sure.
So I think it's honestly, if as a Christian, I can't tell JD to lie. So, JD, JD, who do you think's gonna win? And maybe more importantly, tell me why. I think that's more important to me.
That's fair. Gideon, I think you're exactly right. I think whoever's ever playing in a game, you have to believe in yourself to win. I feel like that's kind of the first part. If you don't think you're gonna win, you're not gonna win. That's kind of how it's gonna work. With that said, yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna win the game. I feel like that has to be said. Obviously, I know the competition is pretty high this game. It is, but here's the thing though. With my last 2 games losing, I've kind of been able to look back on the kind of things I need to work on. I think in all honesty, I think at least the first game, I got a little cocky, thinking that I was a little better than I thought I was. Kind of went over some simple things, and I don't know if that's because of not having a captain next to me overthink those things, or just because I thought I was better than everyone else. And I've kind of been able to take a step back and be like, okay, I'm not the best player out there right now, but that's what you always strive to be. But I know this game I'm gonna have Max Power. He's gonna be by my side, MVP runner. So I mean, I'll have someone there to help me out. That's won a few games this season to know how it works. And honestly, the reason I think I'm winning, I trust my board's abilities to win games. That's really what ends up.
I like it, and I like the idea of picking yourself. So I guess that is going to be, and I want to kind of start a tradition, JD, where we have someone on for the weekly setup, and we all make our picks, and I think if somebody doesn't get picked, the one odd man out has to be the official Board Wars podcast Dark Horse of the Week. It's got to be Mr. Java. So I don't know. We're going to see how this ages. We're going to be keeping score. This is going to be recorded. And, thank you guys for being here. And especially you getting hopping on with us and helping kick off this exciting season of just more information, more dialogue, more media, and more of a tight-knit Board Wars community. So, I mean, I think that's gonna be it for the first official episode of the Board Wars podcast. Gideon, you're our guest here. Like we do with the games, you get the last word.
It's always difficult to have 3 people on and be the only one not picked. Okay, but to Mr. Java out there, okay, I'm gonna be honest. I'm thinking Accio, But if I had a second place, I think it's you. Okay, so don't get upset because you're the dark horse this week.
Okay.
Because I have high hopes from you, Mister. So, I don't want to go back on my word, but I feel like we got to be looking at Mr. Java too.
You heard it here. See you next week.